Alfa Romeo Distributors of North America is presenting this video training aid to standardize the testing and repair procedure used for water entry complaints on all Spyder models. Ardona recommends that you refer to the convertible top manual, part number 8139, and the appropriate Spyder workshop manual for specific information concerning internal trim. If these procedures are followed thoroughly, you will be able to systematically eliminate most water leak complaints. Therefore, the customer should be advised that under certain conditions, for example, extreme crosswinds with heavy rain, manual or automatic car washes, parking at steep angles, etc., they may experience some water entry due to the design of the top. This convertible top is designed much like an umbrella you would use on a rainy day. It protects you from overhead rain. The Spyder convertible top is much the same and can work well unless the angle, pressure, or volume of the water is extreme. The following items are needed to effectively isolate and repair most common water leaks: sprinkler and water hose, body seam sealer and applicator, talcum powder, ribbon caulk commonly called dum-dum, plastic sheeting material 5 mils thick, aerosol trim adhesive, Scotchgard water repellent spray, tubular sponge foam 3/8 inch in diameter. Ardona recommends that you not use silicone-based household or automotive sealers. It is imperative that you have complete knowledge of any past and present water leaks. If necessary, you or the service writer must call the customer to acquire any other bits of important information that may have been overlooked in the service drive. Be sure to ask if the vehicle was parked, was being driven, the speed of the vehicle, if it was being driven on a straight road or a sharp winding road. Being thorough at this point could mean the difference between a satisfied customer or a customer with somewhat dampened enthusiasm. You will find that successful water leak repairs are based on a collective, overall approach to the problem. Each repair or adjustment may affect a different area, and as a result, efforts at a single spot generally will not cure the condition. To simplify and standardize the identification of potential water leaks, you must first perform a pretest to help isolate water entry areas on all Alfa Romeo Spyder models. The vehicle can be divided into 4 major areas: A. Windshield, B. Doors, C. Top, and D. Rear drain channel. We are using a 1991 model Spyder for purposes of this video, but earlier models may use slightly different procedures due to minor design changes. However, the repair techniques are the same. Now, let's get busy. To prepare the vehicle, 1. Remove both door panels to expose all of the door plugs, grommets, interior door water curtains, the 4 vent window frame adjusting points, the 5 side window adjusting points, and the door drains. 2. Remove the 4 screws and the rocker panel molding strip that retains each door weather strip seal to the rocker panel. 3. Remove the 6 screws that secure the rear parcel shelf. Remove the 5 screws that secure the rear bulkhead carpeting and any necessary screws in the side panels. Then, remove the parcel shelf and rear carpet from the vehicle. This procedure is done to expose any hidden water leak areas that could run under the carpet and collect in the rear floor pan where the Motronic and airbag ECUs are located. This also allows you to see the drains for the rear channel located at the base of the convertible top, and also the inner fender channels. In some instances, water can collect in the channel area due to improperly sealed seams in the rear channel drain, or plugged, cracked, or improperly routed drain tubes. 4. You now should carefully move the interior carpet to expose the painted area of the rocker panel so you can see if there is water collecting in this area. Be careful not to damage the pre-molded carpet. 5. Remove the 3 screws securing each of the A-pillar interior trim moldings and remove them both. This will provide a clear view of the windshield molding channel visible behind the dash. 6. Place a common lawn sprinkler similar in design to what you see here on the center of the convertible top. You will need a flashlight so you can see what type of leaks might develop. Talcum powder can be used to identify leaks that are difficult to locate. Water will leave a noticeable path through the powdered area. You'll also need a notepad because taking accurate notes will be very important in the systematic elimination of water leaks. Instruct someone to turn on the water to achieve a height of approximately 10 to 12 inches so that the total top area is getting wet. Remain in the vehicle for approximately 10 to 15 minutes and note all the areas that you see water entry. 10 to 15 minutes will allow enough time for complete saturation of all potential problem areas. Obviously, if any major leaks are detected, shorten the test time to prevent any unnecessary flooding. Have someone wipe the convertible top area to remove any residual water before you exit the vehicle so it will not be confused with a genuine water leak. Accurate notes on individual water leaks in the four areas, windshield, doors, top, and rear drain channel, will allow you to refer back to specific locations. Remember that a proper repair is only as good as a diagnosis. Now that you have identified all of the leaks, you can begin to fix them. Area A, windshield. 1. For easier access to the upper and lower cowl seams, open the engine hood and prop it up with the side support rod. Then, remove the windshield wiper arms, the stainless steel lower windshield molding, and the 4 front cowl cover screws and their plastic nuts. This will allow the front cowl cover to slide forward. Be very careful of the windshield washer nozzles. They are fragile and can break off if too much force is applied. Cut the plastic tubing on the T-valve feed fitting. Remove the cowl cover and set it aside. Now you have access to the windshield wiper motor and mechanical assembly, which must be removed. Make reference marks on the motor and linkage so reassembly will be correct the first time. The cowl seams will most likely need a bead of body seam sealer applied from corner to corner. Make sure the seam areas are clean and dry. Then, apply an even bead of sealer to each seam and smooth into place. Be sure to follow drying directions on the body seam sealer tube. Two, visually check the area around the drain holes in the bottom of the cowl well area for proper moisture sealing. Apply additional body seam sealer if necessary. Three, visually inspect all of the firewall grommets for proper installation. If grommet integrity is in question, replace each one and make sure that it is properly seated. If it appears okay, seal the grommet area with the approved body seam sealer. 4. Visually inspect the wiring harness that runs from the engine compartment into the passenger compartment. These wiring harness junctions are known trouble areas and should always be sealed with ribbon caulk. Completely fill in all the areas around each main and sub-harness and the individual wires. 5. Visually inspect the welded seam that joins the inner fender panel and the firewall. Carefully apply a bead of body seam sealer down each seam. In some instances, technicians have experienced minor leaks from these areas. Six, visually inspect all the windshield moldings and clips for integrity. for example, broken tangs or improper positioning. Replace and reseal any clips if necessary. However, replacement of a leaking windshield molding seal should be performed by a reputable automotive glass repair shop. Seven, reinstall the wiper motor assembly and verify proper wiper motor operation. Reinstall the cowl cover with all hardware. Be sure the area is thoroughly cleaned of any residue of body seam sealer or ribbon caulk. Area B, doors. 1. Verify proper door closure and latch adjustment. Visually inspect the door weather strips for tears, rips, or saturation of the cloth material. Check for proper length at the top edge of the windshield frame and at the top rear of the door. If replacing the weather strips, use the following guidelines for proper installation. A. Liberally apply Scotchgard to the cloth portion of the seal for protection against water saturation through the cloth and into the passenger carpet. B. It is necessary to make small, indistinguishable holes on the top and bottom side of the rubber portion of the seal to allow for proper draining of the water that will collect in the seal fold when the door is closed. C. Ardona recommends the following cut and tuck method for the ends of the seal. Start the installation at the rear of the door by cutting approximately 1.5 to 2 inches of the cloth portion of the seal off and away from the rubber portion of the seal. Then, trim the remaining rubber portion in a triangular shape and tuck it in behind the chrome guide. Lightly tap the seal into place with a rubber mallet, making sure that it is fully seated against the guide, and leave approximately 2 inches of the seal extending past the top of the windshield frame. Cut the cloth portion of the seal even with the top of the guide. Then, trim the remaining rubber portion in a triangular shape 2 inches long. It may be necessary to install foam in the hollow area inside the seal at both ends to keep it from collapsing and causing an improper seal when the door is closed against it. Finally, tuck the rubber portion behind the black plastic cap cover and secure the cover. This procedure will eliminate the use of the plug caps, which can collapse and distort the seal. Two, with the door glass in the full up position, trim the interior water curtain so that when hanging, it just touches the bottom of the door. This procedure will eliminate the problem of water collecting in the bottom of the curtain, then flowing over and filling the map pocket. 3. Visually inspect the positioning of the vent window frame relative to the windshield frame. These angles can be adjusted by loosening the two 8mm bolts at the base of the vent window area and by the two 6mm bolts in the slotted brackets located at the bottom of the door. 4. Visually inspect the door glass fit with the vent window frame. The height can be adjusted by the 2 bolts that retain the wire guides and height adjusting blocks at the door glass attachment points. The rear door glass channel guide can be shimmed forward and the upper locating bracket at the top of the channel adjusted to shift the complete glass assembly toward the front of the door. Five. The door side glass assembly may be tilted in or out for better contact with the side flap on the convertible top. This is accomplished by loosening the 2 6mm nuts on the slotted pulley plate, then moving the plate to the desired location and retightening the nuts. Six. Make sure the interior and exterior side glass wipers are the proper length, because if the interior wiper is too short, water will leak past the joint at the vent window frame and into the passenger compartment. If the wipers are too short, they can be sealed by using a small amount of ribbon caulk. 7. The vent window seals can sometimes leak a small amount of water at the bottom pivot hole because the gasket distorts rather easily at this joint. This minor leak does not require replacement of the seal. It can be repaired with a small amount of ribbon caulk in the pivot hole. Eight. One of the very important final steps is the complete sealing of the grommets and plugs located on the inner surface of the door. Sealing with ribbon caulk will keep water on the inside of the door and let it run out the door drains. Make sure all door drains are clear of debris. Make sure the water diverter at the front of the door is glued down securely. Proper location of this device can divert large quantities of water away from the door weather strip seal. Also inspect the rubber grommet beneath the water diverter and reseal it with body seam sealer if necessary. Nine. The final step before reinstalling the door panel is to fabricate a plastic sheet for a weather barrier. Cut a rectangular piece of plastic large enough to cover the inner door surface. Then glue this to the sheet metal using an aerosol trim adhesive. Be sure to allow a small amount of slack in the map pocket area. Roughly trim off any excess to the basic shape of the door. Note, this step should only be carried out when all water leaks have been totally eliminated. Area C, the top. A general inspection of the convertible top should include checking for proper fit and condition. For example, position of the piping on the front bow, loose material, wear spots, etc. 1. A good visual inspection of the convertible top will indicate if you are having a porosity problem. Typically, this problem results in leaks through the top material stitching, thin areas around the bows, and the large sections of material that are sewn together above the rear bow. If a porosity problem exists, you usually find large droplets of water forming on the interior side of the top, and usually a small weather front developing in the passenger compartment. 2. The front bow seal should be inspected for proper fit and compression or wear problems at each end of the seal molding. If the end of the front bow seal doesn't fit properly, in most cases you may actually see daylight through the flap. This will obviously allow water to enter the passenger compartment. If replacement is necessary, you must make sure that the new seal is correctly cut to fit properly at each end, and that the metal channel that retains the seal is not rusted. Rust will allow the seal to distort when the convertible top is in the closed position. Correct fit of this seal can be accomplished by trimming the end that fits around the windshield frame rib. You must not simply cut off the end of the seal. It must be trimmed to allow the seal end to curve around the attachment bracket. Refer to the convertible top manual for further instruction. 3. Visually inspect the area where the side flap contacts the door glass. This is one of the most important contact areas and should be completely smooth from the windshield frame to the rear of the door. If it is necessary to adjust the front flap for correct contact or to smooth a rippled area, you must remove the pop rivet, relocate the material, and make a new rivet hole before installing the rivet. The threaded 4mm pin will usually require repositioning relative to the new pop rivet location. When performing these two operations, it is imperative that the convertible top be latched for proper location of the new pop rivet and threaded 4mm pin holes. This will help eliminate incorrect positioning of the critical front side flap. 4. In addition, the front side flap contact area can be adjusted by slightly bending the side flap locating bracket in or out. This bracket protrudes from the front metal header assembly. You will eliminate quite a few leaks with this simple but careful adjustment. Bending the bracket too far will prevent the vent frame from sealing properly. It is critical that you saturate both the interior and exterior of the flap pocket containing the threaded 4mm pin with Scotchgard. Be sure to allow this product to dry thoroughly before water testing the area. When this important contact area is neglected, the interior side flap area effectively becomes a sponge after a short exposure to water. Once the cloth side flap has reached its saturation point, water will then drip or flow into the passenger compartment. 6. Further adjustments can be made to the rear side flap by simply bending the support bracket inward or outward to achieve proper contact. To remove wrinkles or smooth the contact area, you may have to remove the cloth from the side support and reposition it. The 3 rivets must be drilled out and the cloth and bracket cleaned, re-glued, and riveted to ensure proper fit. Refer to page 28 and 29 of the convertible top manual. 7. If the top frame assembly is too high or too low and requires adjustment, use the following procedure. Loosen the 2 8mm bolts and the single 6mm nut located in the front drain channel and adjust the frame assembly up or down. If the convertible top frame assembly is positioned too high above the rear chrome channel cap, water may be deflected into the passenger compartment. If any convertible top frame adjustments are necessary, vent frame and/or glass adjustments will be required. For more detailed instruction regarding these procedures, please contact your district service representative or the Alfa Romeo Technical Hotline. Please have the proper workshop manual and information available for quick, accurate assistance. Area D, rear drain channel. 1. Sit in the vehicle with the convertible top in the closed and latched position. Face the rear bulkhead and pull up the vinyl splash shield that is glued to the rear channel. Pour a small quantity of water into the rear channel and check for proper drainage through the 2 front and 2 rear drains. 2. If it is necessary to reseal any of the rear channel area, it is advisable to use body seam sealer. The front area of the rear channel drain is a good example. 4 angles of body sheet metal join at this point. If it is a very small area, push ribbon caulk into the seams of the suspected joints. 3. If the drain tubes are plugged or improperly positioned, they must be cleared or rerouted. Cracks, tears, splits, or total collapse of the tube will require replacement. Four, open the trunk and pull down the mat to expose the car jack and tire kit. Examine this area for puddles which indicate leakage through the rear bulkhead seam. A bead of approved body seam sealer across the entire joint will correct the leak. Now that the Spyder is still in the partially assembled state, let's perform another water test. Sit in the vehicle and repeat the 10 to 15 minute water leak test procedure. Look for any water leak that may still exist. After these have been repaired, repeat the 10 to 15 minute water leak test procedure to ensure that no leaks exist. Reassemble the vehicle interior and perform a final 10 to 15 minute water leak test procedure to verify a complete repair. If you have followed the guidelines in this video, you and your customer will be pleased with the results. Be sure to discuss completed repairs with the customer. All water leak repairs and adjustments described in this video are subject to approval by your Alfa Romeo District Service Representative.